Hello and welcome back to KXAN Plus. I am your host, Esmeralda Zamora, and today we have our Weather Answers with Rich Segal segment with, of course, our KXAN meteorologist, Rich Segal. Rich, how are you doing today?
It's a good day today. It's Sunday. The college football season has started. Of course, we didn't get the result we quite wanted yesterday for the Horns, but the better days are ahead.
Yeah, it was a tough game, so I'm sure the rest of our season is going to go great. We have our Longhorn spirit in the air, and we're hoping for a great season this year.
That's right.
What about our weather lately? It's been a little gloomy out there.
It's really, we've got a lot of moisture in the atmosphere right now as a front moves through the area. It's producing some rain as we record this, as we're looking at a few showers and thunderstorms for the rest of the day, and more rain tomorrow, and then we'll get a few days of dry weather. And always appreciate when a forecast holds.
Yeah, and always appreciate when we have a little bit of a cold front, no matter how small.
That's right.
That nice, cool air is so refreshing. And if you see behind me, it's pretty dark and cloudy. Yeah, so
No rain in the Austin area just yet, but that'll change later on this afternoon.
that's great to hear. Well, we do have a list of questions from our viewers, as we always do every stream. And the first one that I'm going to start with is, when watching the weather, they tell us that the models are from Europe and the United States. I would like to know what the difference is. If they could explain on air, I'm sure I'm not the only one that would like to know what this means and how that works. That is true. I'm sure a lot of people are interested in what exactly that means. So you're here to tell us, right?
One of the models that we use is called the GFS. That stands for Global Forecast System. It is the American model. Supercomputers are used to do a forecast that goes out 10 to 15 days. This is one that we use. We look at it. Sometimes we'll use it, sometimes we don't. The American model was upgraded about a year or two ago. And I'm thinking that the upgrade did not take as well as we had hoped, because sometimes it will exaggerate rain periods, it'll exaggerate forecasted high temperatures, and so I'm not as pleased with the upgrade as I would have been. It covers the entire Earth, as it says. NOAA maintains this one. That's the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. Goes out, like I said, about 10 days in a forecast period encompassing everything. And here's one example of the American model where you see GFS. It just looks at the precipitation that is forecast for part of the area on Monday. And realistically, we're going to see a similar pattern on the European model. And that's what this is. The European model is maintained by the European Center. It stands for European Center for Medium Range Weather Forecasts, ECMWF. And there is a tendency for many people in the meteorological world to think that this is the more reliable model, and certainly it has over the past several weeks for me. It's not to say that it is better, but it for me has been the most reliable in terms of what my forecasts are talking about. It forecasts the entire planet just like the GFS does, and this goes about 10 to 15 days out. It depends on what the meteorologist who is doing a forecast wants to rely on. Sometimes, if I feel like I can use both within a forecast, I'll do that. It's just, for me, the European model has a tendency to be a bit more reliable than the American model. And here, too, this shows the precipitation pattern for tomorrow, and you see underneath first warning weather, the ECWMF forecast model.
So that everyone who's watching the forecast knows exactly what model you pulled this
Yeah,
from.
like I said, this gives us a snapshot of future weather. I only go out with this about 6 days. It'll be today plus the next 6 days. I try to not go out 7 to 10 days, because the further in time you go, the less accurate the forecast is going to be, and it changes twice a day. There's one model run that comes out, both of these comes out in the morning, and then there is an afternoon model run, so there's a tendency for it to change. But again, I will look at both models and putting a forecast together, but in terms of the numerical data that associates with these maps, the European model seems to be a little cooler, But the American model sometimes has a tendency to be way warmer. They forecasted in times where we had highs in the 90s, they were still forecasting triple digits.
Wow.
And so you have to use your gut feeling by the time you're done putting a forecast together. It's like, okay, well, here are these numbers and from the American model, and here are these numbers from the European model. What do I think is going to happen? And so sometimes I will tell you that my forecasts are a little more accurate.
One way I like to explain when people ask this question is our phones have different apps. Like I have the KXAN weather app and the iPhone app downloaded where you can go and check the weather. And oftentimes they're both different forecasts, and it's because they're coming from different models, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Our app is coming from us. iPhone app is coming from a computer.
Yeah. And do you know exactly what computer it's coming from?
I don't have an iPhone, so I don't, and so I can't answer that question.
Yeah. So
maybe I'll get an answer to that question for the next time you and I visit.
yeah, for next show.
Yeah.
So it's always important to remember to check multiple models because they're all showing different forecasts, right?
Sometimes. Depends on the season. There's a Canadian model that seems to be a little more accurate when there are periods of cold weather. And so when we get into especially December, January, February, that's a model that I'll take a look at as well. There is a British model that I'll take a look at sometimes, but
Wow,
you
there's
have
a
only
lot.
so much time. Oh, there's several. But there's only so much time that you can look at these models before you have to make your forecast together, put your forecast together and have it on air. You could look at models for several hours, and so some of the meteorologists who aren't on air can do that. They have the luxury of doing that. We, though, here do not because
It's a quick
It's a
turnaround.
quick turnaround. You
Yeah.
have to put your forecast together and then get ready to go on TV.
Yeah, and this kind of relates to our second question. And this second question is one that you always explain so well. And that question is, I would like to know, how do I get what's going on right now when I'm looking at your app?
Okay. We get this question a lot, and some people need to understand that there are 3 words in the bottom right-hand corner of the app. First of all, you have to go to, on our app, when you first punch in, radar apps, and look at the bottom right-hand corner. In the bottom right-hand corner, you will see 3 options: future, past and future,
I wonder if I can show it.
and past. Okay, because
Let's
you
see.
brought your phone and I
Yeah.
didn't bring my phone. So you can see
Right around here.
right where your finger is, right there. You
Right
see,
there.
you have it set to future. So that is going to tell you, it's a computer-generated animation of what is likely to happen, not what is happening now.
Now.
What is happening now is set when you put it on
Past. Yeah.
It will go from the past of the last several hours to what is happening right now and has a whole lot more accuracy. Like I said, the future will show you what could happen, but you can't predict the future. It's only a computer-generated animation. This is going to be the possibility of what may happen in the next several hours. So always set it to past. And then on the app, there are 3 dots just above that. And those dots, if you press on it, give you an option to just show the rain.
Oh, these dots, right?
Those dots right there. It can show you the...
Technology's hard.
You're
Right
almost,
here.
Yeah,
Right there.
right by your forefinger.
Yeah.
And there's an option, there are a few options that you can
Has
pick
like
on
rain
too.
and snow. It has 24-hour, cloud, and temperature.
Yeah, so you want one that says rain.
And when you are clicking past and future, are those 2 different computer models that you're looking at?
Past and future, it tells you what has happened. And again, whether you set it on past and future or just future, you're still going to get the computer guess as to what could happen in the next several hours.
So there's a big difference in the 2 settings that you have on.
Correct.
Wow. So important to note that when you're looking at your weather apps. And our next question is question number 3. You talked about the most devastating hurricane last week. We did. What is the costliest hurricane?
So that wasn't hard to determine. We have the top 5 all time, and the dollar amount based on 2024 adjustments. This was the week of Katrina back in 2005, the most costliest hurricane ever. In 2024, cost adjusted dollars, $201.3 billion in damages were recorded. And then 2017, the one that struck in southeast Texas, Harvey. Harvey's dollar amount was $160 billion.
Wow.
A few years ago, Hurricane Ian, $119.6 billion. 2017, Hurricane Maria, $115.2 billion. And in 2012, Sandy, under $90 billion. And so it's interesting to note that as we've gotten into this century is when we're seeing the 5 costliest hurricanes in all time. And even the second set of 5 had most of them in the from 2001 to 2020, 2012.
Wow.
So the dollar amounts, and the names of the storms, and I think all of these storm names have been retired.
Yeah, for sure.
We'll never have another Katrina. We'll never have another Harvey and Ian and Maria.
And this order is just the costliest. This doesn't mean that this is the order of how destructive they were, right?
No, this does not take into account loss of life. It doesn't take anything into account except the damages that were reported and the cost of the damages.
So these are like damages to structures, to homes,
Yes.
to roads, not necessarily to families and the costs that they
Correct.
had to see. Wow, that's interesting. So we have a list of retired names already that are the costliest.
We'll get into that. Nick, how about if we do that next week?
The costliest retired?
Not the costliest. The costliest is this list. The names that have been retired.
The retired names?
Yeah.
We're
How about if
coming
we
up
do
with
that?
all our questions for
Yeah,
next
well,
week.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, that works. And our last question for today is explain what the hurricane hunters do. We recently had our storm chaser here last week, so I'm thinking this is where the question came from, right?
Yes, indeed it did. The hurricane hunters do a fabulous job of helping us to learn more about these tropical storms and these hurricanes and what they're capable of doing. The hurricane hunters fly a specially equipped aircraft, and then they take what is known as a drop sonde. A drop sonde is an instrument that is used, it is dropped with a parachute that goes down, and it takes a look at some critical data, temperature, humidity, pressure, and especially the winds, from the ocean's surface to the top of the storm. And that information is sent back to the National Hurricane Center, where the forecasters there are able to make some determinations as to future wind, future movement. Why do they do it? They protect lives, they protect property.
Yeah.
And this also helps future research because you can never have enough information to predict what may happen in future tropical storm and hurricane settings.
Yeah, and not only do they do all of this while they're out there hunting these hurricanes, they also provide us with some great video or some live streams of the storm when it's happening. And I do have that video. I want to pull it up and show. This is from Gabe Cox. So he likes to go see or hunt tornadoes and hurricanes and much more. But this is some great video and visuals that we wouldn't have gotten without Gabe out there and chasing these storms, right?
That's a very interesting. Yeah, I didn't know that he was able to provide this video, so I'm really happy to see this. I wish I could have been in here when you all interviewed him.
We're talking to him.
Oh, look at that! Yeah.
Yeah, he said he was standing right there watching all of this happen.
Look at what they're so capable of doing.
So strong.
Isn't that just awful?
Mm-hmm.
Dramatic video though, but that's what they're capable of doing. This is why they tell you to evacuate when they feel like the necessity is there.
Yeah, imagine walking down that road during this windy temperatures and hurricane. I don't think anyone would be able to walk. That's why they tell you to evacuate.
That's right.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it is.
So storm chasers, hurricane chasers, they do a lot. They do a lot for us here. They do a lot for our viewers and pretty much everyone, right?
Yes.
I know that those specially equipped aircrafts that go hunting for hurricanes. Kristen has mentioned that she has had a thought of maybe going on one day. Would you ever go on one day?
Yes.
You would?
I sure would.
I would be way too scared to get
Well,
on there.
I would imagine that anybody that would be doing it for the first time might be apprehensive about doing it, but the necessity of what they do can't be underestimated,
Yeah.
nor can it be understated. But it would be interesting to see how they negotiate through that wind tunnel to get to where they need to get to take the measurements that they need to take and that they do take.
Yeah, and they have to do it to get all of us the information
Yes.
that we need to continue and warn everyone about the storm. So
Yes.
it is very, very important. Rich, these are all the questions that we have for this Sunday, but you do have a blog post coming out soon that you wanted to share some details about?
Yeah, normally my blogs are written on Saturdays and published on Saturday. Sometimes I wait until Sunday. This is a blog that I have already written, but I can't publish it today because the information for the blog is dependent a little bit about what happens later on this afternoon with our forecast high. I wrote a blog about the summer recap, the MET summer recap, MET standing for meteorological summer. Remember, there are essentially two seasons. There's a meteorological season and there is an astronomical season. The astronomical season is based on the Earth and the Sun. The meteorological season is based on time.
Yeah.
Meteorological season is a 3-month period and it helps in record keeping. So for me and for us, meteorological summer, June, July, and August, whereas astronomical summer starts around June the 20th, 21st in that time frame and lasts until around September 20th or 21st when we have the autumnal equinox. So far, in a 3-month forecast period that started with temperatures above the average and rainfall below or near the average, we came up with these numbers. The 3-month period, June, July, August, the average temperature 85.3 was only 0.2 of a degree above normal, and the precipitation of 8.08 is for now 0.3 below. Now, we could make that 0.3 up later on today. That's why we can't publish the blog until the final numbers for August 31st have been released. It was interesting to note, we thought that with all of the heavy rain that fell during July,
Yeah.
especially during the first half of the month, that this may wind up being close to a top 5 or top 10 wettest summer seasons on record. But so far, okay, with still a few more
We didn't
numbers.
actually get as much rain as we thought we did, right?
No, because we had below normal precipitation
Yeah.
in June. We only had less than an inch of rain, 85 hundredths in June. And so far in August, 1.15, and in a month that is normally 2.74. So we have had below normal for June and August and above normal for July. So for now, we're tied for 25th warmest summer. And I should have that not as August 2025 rankings. That's why I'm glad I didn't publish it today. I was thinking because I had to change the
July,
graphic. It
right?
said July, but no, it should be Met Summer 2025 rankings. So I'll get that on the blog tomorrow, and it should be published around 10 to 11 o'clock. But we may wind up getting that 0.3 of an inch of rain later on today. It won't take us much higher than about 51st or 50th, but we were thinking, again, that this might be one of the top 10 wettest meteorological summers, but that is not going to happen unless we get about 15 inches of rain today, and I don't think that'll happen at all.
Unless we just continue to pour all week until the end of meteorological summer.
No, meteorological summer ends today.
Today? Oh,
Yeah.
so this is our last day.
June 1st to August 31st.
Last day, last chance to get that rainfall in. And do you think we were going to do it?
No.
No, unfortunately, maybe not. But we did start off very, very strong with our summer and the rain that we got. It may have felt like we had so much rain, but compared to the entire summer, we ended up not having as much rain as we thought we did.
Correct. Just 8 inches.
Just 8 inches, unfortunately. But Rich, so this article is being published tomorrow, Labor Day, right?
Yes.
And anyone who is interested in reading up on this article, it will be on our homepage, kxan.com. You can find it right there, easy on the homepage at the top of your screen. And it will be published for anyone, as well as anyone who wants to rewatch this video. It will also be in that blog post. Rich, before we leave today, can you please remind our viewers where they can download the free KXAN Plus app?
I'll let you do that.
You can download that on Roku TV, Fire TV, Apple TV, and Samsung TV.
It's the fourth one that I always forget.
The fourth one, Samsung. It's new. We just got that one, so I understand. But that is completely free, and you can watch content just like Rich and I's show, as well as much, much more on that app for free. Again, Rich, thank you so much for joining me.
You're welcome.
And we will see you next week. Thank you.